You're listening to the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday, happy fall. As on this 13th day of October, we are back for our Griffin Sports Insider Podcast. Hope everybody had a good weekend after a late-night game in Kansas City down the road just last night. I'm Tommy Rezach. We've got a packed hour ahead, and we've got a packed week on campus ahead. It's officially our Rogers Pharmacy Hall of Fame weekend with our Hall of Fame ceremony coming up this Friday night at 6 o'clock at the Fulkerson Center, where 6 individuals, 2 teams will be enshrined into the Griffin Athletics Hall of Fame. The week is already underway with women's golf just down the road in Warrensburg in the Midwest Classic, playing the first of 2 rounds today. And the Griffin women right now are in 6th place with a team score of 9 over par. Take a look at that player leaderboard right now for Mo West, and you've got, let's see, last I saw, yes, Enos Vandal tied for 9th place right now at 1 shot over par, about 5 strokes back from the lead. So Griffin women's golf in action today and tomorrow in Warrensburg. We got lots of things coming up here on campus, one of which our athletic bands is hosting a high school Tournament of Champions competition at Spratt Stadium. Gets underway tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Adrian Lowry and his crew putting that one on at the stadium. 13 bands that are going to be competing from 10 a.m. and then awards at 2:45 in the afternoon tomorrow. So our campus is going to be a pretty busy place. So if you find yourself driving around the University Loop, just watch where you're going. Going to be a lot of buses, a lot of foot traffic going on our campus tomorrow. And that's not the only thing tomorrow. Griffin Volleyball kicks off our week of home athletic events as we got a rivalry match with Northwest Missouri State in town. That is a 6 o'clock match start from the Looney Indoor Sports Complex tomorrow, and you'll hear that match where you're listening to this program on the Griffin Sports Network, and that'll be available to watch on the MIAA Network as well. Moving on a bit later in the week, coming up this Thursday, Griffin Softball, they have a big annual fundraiser. It's their annual hit-a-thon. That's going on this Thursday night, 6 o'clock at the Spring Sports Complex. You get 10 swings for $10, and depending on how hard and how far you hit the ball, it determines your total pledge toward Griffin Softball. I know they rely heavily on that as a source of their fundraising and their operational costs, so get out there and support Griffin Softball if you're able. Back to things that are going on in season. Friday night, we got a double dip, and it starts with volleyball against Pittsburgh State this Friday at 6 o'clock. It's a painted black night for that match. And then at Spratt Stadium, we've got Griffin Soccer, home to Nebraska Kearney. That's a 7:30 start from Spratt. Same thing. It's a painted black theme for that match. And again, between those two things, with volleyball at 6, soccer at 7:30, the annual Mo West Athletics Hall of Fame dinner and ceremony that starts officially 6 o'clock on Friday at the Fulkerson Center. Moving on to Saturday, another double dip for us. Griffin Volleyball stays home to face Newman. That's a 1 o'clock start on Saturday. And then our football game against a big-time opponent. Anytime you play the winningest D2 college football program in history, it's usually a big deal, and no exception this year. Pittsburgh State, which as of this past week ranked 15th in the country. They've won 5 straight games. They're just a shade behind Northwest in the MIAA standings. Griffin football, a big test against Pittsburgh, and it is our final night game of the year. It's our 4th home game, the first 4 all starting at 6 o'clock. This one as well, 6 o'clock start on Saturday. And again, the 2025 Mo West Athletics Hall of Fame class to be honored on the field at halftime, getting their commemorative rings and everything like that. So it'll be so good to see all those folks back. You know, Buzz Verduzco, a couple of Dave Slifer's women's basketball teams, the 96-97, 01-02 MIAA championship teams are there. Ryan Zen of baseball, J.R. Graham, Nathan Martin of football to be honored, Shi King Ong of women's golf fame to be honored in this one as well. So many big names in this class, that it'll be good to see all those folks coming. And then Sunday, we wrap up with soccer, Griffin Soccer, home to Fort Hays State for a 1 o'clock match on Sunday. So that is what's going on between. We got golf going on now. I mean, the week's already started. We've got the band tournament Tuesday, home volleyball Tuesday night, softball hit-a-thon Thursday night, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just like it was a couple weeks ago, we got something to keep you occupied every night here this week. So plenty to pick from to cheer on the Griffins this week as fall sports kind of getting into that back half of their schedule. And coming up in the show today, you know, believe it or not, a week from Wednesday, we have our first basketball broadcast. Our women will be at DJ Sokol Arena in Omaha to take on Creighton University of the Big East. That's a Wednesday, October 22nd. So next Monday, we'll preview the women's team with Coach Scheidecker as they'll unofficially start their season. But later on in this show, men's basketball, they won't start officially till October 31st at Civic Arena against West Texas A&M. But we are going to give Brooks McCowan a chance to talk about his team on the show today with one of his transfer players, a senior guard, Ty Henry, who transferred in and joined us from Baker University. So Ty and Brooks will talk men's basketball with us this week, and we'll have Coach Scheidecker to preview the women next week. And then cross country, I just want to mention real quick that Sean Goswish has the show off. Cross country was idle this past week, and then they'll be idle this weekend before competing in the MIAA championship race October the 25th in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So Coach Goswish will rejoin us next week to preview that. So that's what we've got going. We've got Jake Plucker of Griffin Soccer coming off of the big game at Central Missouri yesterday. He'll join us, and we'll talk volleyball with Coach Phi, men's basketball with Coach McCowan, and then Tyler Fenwick and Brecken Manis, senior linebacker who had 3 sacks on Saturday in that most recent football game. Brecken Manis will be here to talk some ball with us as well. It's a big weekend for Griffin football in more ways than one, and we'll discuss that coming up here later in the show. Right now, let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll lead things off with Griffin Soccer at a record of 6-1-3, still unbeaten at home as they get ready for 2 more home conference matches this weekend. We'll discuss it next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Welcome back to our GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, off and running on this Monday, October 13th, ahead of another busy week/weekend on our campus. Griffin Soccer going to be a big part of that, entering the week with a record of 6-1-3 overall, 2-1-2 in the MIAA. Griffin's back on the road this past weekend. On Friday night, they were in beautiful Tahlequah, Oklahoma to take on Northeastern State, a 1-0 victory. And then we knew Sunday was going to be a big one anytime you got the Jennies on your schedule. In a lot of sports, particularly women's soccer, you know it's going to be a big one. The Jennies ranked 9th, and a goal 2 minutes in is what the Gens used to win an otherwise very competitive match, 1-0, the final there yesterday afternoon. Coach Plucker here to talk about it. And Coach, you know, kind of a tale of 2 games, right? We get the early goal Friday, we hang on to win. UCM in the second minute, and they hang on to win. But I know you felt pretty good about those last 88 minutes yesterday, but you also bring up maybe self-inflicted mistakes, missed opportunities. Just your overall takeaways from the weekend at large.
Yeah, I think on Friday we did a good job of coming out and knowing that they were going to play a direct style of soccer, and so we were able to kind of handle that and then calm things down and get things going and obviously get a goal early, which is nice. And then, kind of fast forward to Sunday, I think obviously giving up that goal 2 minutes in isn't ideal. Mm-hmm. And then took us about another 5-10 minutes to just kind of settle down, let the game kind of come to us, and then kind of be able to play a little bit. And I mean, I think after that, it was very much back and forth. We had some really good opportunities as well, and unfortunately, we weren't able to get that equalizer.
Yeah, looking at the 2 matches, and you said it as you got up here, 2 teams that play different styles, and it's somewhat reflected in the numbers, right? Northeastern, we get 24 total shots, 11 on goal, and UCM, playing pretty defensive, hold us to 11 total shots, just 4 on goal. Just stylistically, prep-wise, what were the main differences between Friday and Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, we knew coming in on Friday it was going to be, again, a lot more direct, and it was going to be a little more of a track meet, there might have been some quicker transitional moments where we could try to exploit them. And then obviously with UCM, again, they're the number 9 team in a reason, and we're very much, I think we were right there up there with them. And so, we try to keep the ball moving around and connect passes and kind of build a bit more. And like I said, once we were able to kind of let the game come to us and kind of settle in a little bit, we were able to kind of do that a bit more, than at the start of the game.
Talking of defense, you've allowed still just 1 goal each of the last 4 matches. We keep the Jennies, it could be a high-scoring team at times, keep them off the board for 88 minutes to end on Sunday. And I thought Mo Bird showed her stuff this weekend. 10 total saves, 4 against UCM, career best 6 on Friday against Northeastern. Defensively, we know we've got there and a good back line with players like Nicoletta doing a lot of good things, playing 90 minutes most cases. Defensively, what progress have you kind of seen at this point?
Yeah, we talked about it kind of at the start of the year where, we have, really just one one returner in that spot. We obviously Nico was as well, but we kind of moved her position around, so we knew it was going to take a little extra time to kind of gel and kind of get a feel for each other. And I think that's still kind of an ongoing process. But I think again, you have a lot of experience back there on the back line, so some of it is just being able to calm down, just kind of stay composed. And kind of play what we see, and obviously, hoping that you're going to have the support from the rest of your teammates to be in the positions where they need to be able to help our back line be able to be more successful, with whether that's building out, or even if we're defending, having the rest of the team kind of transition back to be able to help defend.
Well, we're back home this week. A couple of conference matches here. Nebraska-Kearney, Friday night at 7:30. Fort Hays State on Sunday at 1. It's Painted Black Night on Friday, and then St. Joseph Youth Soccer Appreciation Day on Sunday for those matches. So hopefully that'll draw some folks out. Weather looking okay. It's been pretty unseasonably warm this time of year. It's been dry as well, so hopefully weather cooperates with us. These are two teams in Kearney and Hays that a little bit further down in the standings to where, say, a UCM is. But, I think every year we play them. They're two teams that are gritty, and they're used to playing in adverse windy conditions. They play in central Nebraska, central Kansas, the wind always howling anytime we go there. So with that being said, we get them here. What are you expecting to see this week?
Yeah, I think you look at that Kearney first, and they've had some injuries, so it's taken them a little while to kind of get things going. But then you look, they tied UCM 2 weekends ago, so they're a team that's capable. We just have to again be able to continue to come out and play to that pace, play to the style, play to playing off of one another like we know we're capable of. And then obviously we like our opportunities there. So again, it's just a matter of not overlooking anybody and coming out and performing to our expectation.
Yeah, Nebraska-Kearney this weekend with matches against Newman, UCO, conference draws against Newman, Central Missouri, Missouri Southern, Pittsburgh State. So still kind of seeking that first conference victory. And how? At what point do you kind of start to look at Hays? I know probably Saturday, I'm sure a lot, but anything that you know about them at this point?
Yeah, obviously we've been able to watch some film, on both. We'll obviously kind of shift our focus to them after the game on with the team, at least on that Saturday. But again, they're a team that they've got some athletes, especially with where they're located and kind of how they like to play. It's a little bit more kind of like Northeastern, so at least it's nice to kind of have that to lean on with what to expect. I know they were a little banged up last year, and I think they're a little more healthy this year. So, again, we just have to. A lot of it is like it's kind of that cliche, but we need to focus on ourselves. So we need to be able to not, have those self-inflicted wounds that have been able to cost us some of those opportunities. And I think like Coach Fye said, even the last week, of knowing like, kind of switching that mindset of, no longer that underdog, and knowing that we're good enough and we're capable and we should be confident and be able to come out and perform and play it to a level that we know will help us get the results that we want.
Yeah, and Hays feeling at least probably a little more confident. They broke a 4-match losing streak on Sunday. They won at Newman yesterday 3-0. Hays will play at Northwest on Friday before seeing us on Sunday at 1 o'clock. And, of course, we first get Nebraska-Kearney on Friday night at 7:30. So we had our first 2 conference matches at home the past weekend. And, that was a huge weekend with 50 years of women's athletics. So hopefully we can bring the same amount of energy and hype to the games this weekend, because this is a team in Griffin soccer, receiving votes in the polls, competing with the best in the region. We're in that last month and change of the year, so these ones, they all matter in terms of standings and postseason and all that. So get out and be loud. Friday at 7:30, wear your black, and then Sunday at 1, St. Joseph Youth Soccer going to be in the house for the festivities as well as we take on Hays. So, Coach Plucker, thank you for the time. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jake Plucker joining us to lead off the program here today. Let's take another break, and we'll talk some winter sports. I told you that's coming up with a women's basketball exhibition 9 days from now. We'll talk to our women next week as they get ready for that exhibition. But with the men their season's still a couple weeks away. They open on Halloween. I figured let's this week give our men's coach his first chance to talk about his team. We were with them a week ago in Kansas City for the MIAA Basketball Media Day. But for the first time on this Monday show at High Hope, we'll have men's coach Brooks McCowan with one of his new players, Ty Henry. They'll be up here next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Welcome back to Hi-Ho Bar and Grill and our GSI Podcast, the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, off and running today. I'm Tommy Rezach, as we're joined by our guest from men's basketball, getting ready to embark on his first year with us. It's the head coach, Brooks McCowan, and the player, his guest joining him today, is a 6'5" senior guard, originally from Topeka, and a transfer from Baker University, Ty Henry. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. And Brooks, it was about a week ago at this time, we're sitting at a table in downtown KC previewing the season, but figured I'd let the folks here, see you guys up close. Season starting 2 weeks from this Friday with the D2 CCA Tip-Off Classic at Civic Arena right here in downtown St. Joe. But official practices starting this past week. No doubt tons of anticipation. Just how you feeling about everything with knowing the season starts this month?
We feel good, You kind of scared us last week when you told me how many days there was left before our first game, but we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
We've got a new group, as everybody knows. We brought a lot of new guys in to mix together, but it's been a good preseason. We're excited for the group to get on the floor and show what they've got. They've been working together and getting better every week, so it's been a good week so far.
Yeah. Well, last week I got to know one of our newcomers. Noah King was with our returner, Dev Butler, so I figured let's bring on one of these 11 newcomers on the men's, or 13 on the men, 11 on the women. 24 new basketball athletes this year. He's one of them. Ty, a first-team All-Heart of America Athletic Conference performer this past year at NAIA Baker. 11.4 points per game just in this past season, in this last year. 90% at the free throw line, north of 40% from three. But Ty, your career spans a long time there, over 90 games, 58 starts. You're on a very successful group there that went 30-4 this past year. So when the decision came that you were going to make a move, try to make a step up, what was it you were looking for, and why Brooks and why Mo West?
I was just kind of looking for a good fit, and I came up here on a visit, happy enough to get up here on a visit, and they made a great connection with me on the day that I was up here, and it was honestly a no-brainer decision to come up here.
Yeah, I've asked Coach about it, the blend of all these new guys, you and 12 others that are experiencing your first year on this campus in the program, with one veteran guy who's a senior, who's played D1, he's coming to his second year here, with such a unique blend of talents and backgrounds. Having gotten some work in with these guys this past week, what have you seen just from the players' perspective? How's this group kind of coming together?
Obviously we're still growing as a group. We still have a lot that we need to work on. But I'm excited. I think we have a lot of potential, but we just got to put all of our pieces together and let this guy guide us home.
Yeah. And Brooks, similar question. How much work are you able to get done in a week like last? You still got 17, 18 days till Halloween, until our opener, so plenty of time to get things right. But how much work are you able to do before last week, and now what are you hoping to achieve in the next 2-ish weeks?
Yeah, we get 4 hours in our preseason, so excuse me. We're able to get out there and do it. We did a lot of team practices in those 4 hours. So we were able to get a good base in. The issue with your preseason is you don't get a ton of carryover because you practice for 2 days in a row, then you take 3 days off, and it just kind of accumulates. So now that we're able to go back-to-back days, it's been better, and you start to see a little more carryover and a little more growth quicker. Our preseason was good, but for us, you talk about Ty stats. Well, we've got a ton of guys on this roster that have played college basketball, that have experience, that win, that are guys that have been on winning programs. And I think that's huge. That's not just putting a brand-new team together that's never done it. You've got some natural leaders, some natural guys that have already done it. And then now it's just blending the pieces together. And for them, it's just getting them comfortable playing together. Getting them to understand, when I drive, is that guy going to cut? Is he going to space? What are they doing? So just getting that comfort with each other. And I think they did that in the preseason. They did that themselves in the preseason, and then now we just got to kind of blend our style and blend our tempo and pace and what we're trying to do with them.
Yeah, talking with Brooks McCowan and Ty Henry of Griffin men's basketball. And Ty, talking with a couple of your teammates last week, and Dev and Noah, I asked them, who have been some of the bigger leaders, bigger personalities, and they each kind of named the other guy. Noah said Dev said Noah. I know there's a lot of upperclassmen guys who have played a lot of basketball, a lot of leaders stepping up, but in terms of personality, who have been maybe some of the more vocal or quirkier guys in this group so far?
Oh man, there's a lot of quirky guys, but obviously King and Dev have been great leaders for us so far, but I feel like the whole group likes to have fun, likes to be around each other.
Yeah. And what's it like for you having, had such a long career in Kansas? You're from the region, from Topeka, familiar with the MIAA, to now be here and learn from this staff and learn from new players. Just for you personally, what kind of journey has this been for you the last few months?
It's been great. It's exciting. I'm really excited for the opportunity this year. It's going to be a lot of fun, and obviously we got new pieces everywhere. Coach's first year in the league, so yeah. A lot of new experiences.
And, of course, Coach McCowan spent the last dozen years at Upper Iowa, but beat several MIAA schools in that time, including Mo West a time or two, including Northwest under Ben McCollum a time or two as well. So, Coach, you've played in a lot of these, non-conference tip-off classic deals. You were in Hilliard a number of years. So, the first thing on the schedule is the D2 CCA Tip-Off Classic on Halloween. October 31st, November 2nd, we start off with a game against West Texas A&M and Missouri St. Louis. The UMSL Tritons, an in-state team and a former conference rival of yours at Upper Iowa, and a pair of teams that made the NCAA tournament last season. But more than that, 4 Central Region teams total in our non-conference schedule. So, again, something we touched on last week. But what a great opportunity for folks to see this new team on a technically neutral floor, but in our downtown against great D2 competition. And then so many great teams like a Southern Naz and Arkansas Tech, Augustana, Wayne State, just to name a few. So that being said, just talk to us about this non-conference slate and scheduling some of these teams.
Yeah, I think you want to be challenged. I think that's the biggest thing in your non-conference is you want to be challenged because the MIAA is good. Mm-hmm. And we all know it's one of the best conferences in D2. And if you don't challenge yourself in the non-conference, then you're not setting these guys up for success. And for us, I've always kind of done that. We try to go out and get D2 games, and anytime you can get a regional game, I think is big. And then this tip-off classic is a great opportunity, to be able to play in town here down at the Civic. That's a great opportunity for us, for the fans to come out and watch us play early on against 2 great teams. And then within that tournament, there's great basketball in that tournament, so we'll get to see some teams that are in our region, some teams that we might get to play in the future. So just to see what they're like and kind of compare ourselves to them and see where we need to get. But I'm excited. This is a good group, and our non-conference is, it's pretty stacked. It's probably one of the tougher non-conference schedules out there, and these guys will be ready for it. They'll be ready for the challenge and ready to go out right away.
What's also great about that event, it's men's and women's, so you'll have a chance to see both teams. Our women will actually get us started Friday on Halloween, 3 o'clock against defending national champ Grand Valley State, and then we see a heavy bruiser, the team from Canyon, Texas, West A&M, in here Friday night at 7 o'clock. That event being put on, of course, by the St. Joseph Sports Commission, and Hilliard will go on November 14th and 15th. We'll get Augustana and Wayne State in here on that particular week. So the first 4 games all right here in our city. So a chance to see this team. The polls picked us 8th, so a chance to prove some folks wrong as we go through 2025-26 with a pretty much a whole new team and a whole new coaching staff. So much unknown in the league, I feel like. Everyone's looking at Washburn, who went to the Final Four and everything, but I truly think in my now 5th year of doing basketball in this league, it's wide open, and I think we've got a seat at the table. It'll be exciting. So until then, Brooks, thank you for the time. Ty, you as well, and good luck this year.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Tommy.
There you go. Appreciate it. Ty Henry and Brooks McCowan as we officially preview men's basketball on the program for the first time. We'll probably have Brooks back on the week of Halloween, the Monday before that first game, and Luke Scheidecker will be up here next week to preview his squad because his team, the women's team, they exhibition at Creighton a week from Wednesday. Let's take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll talk Griffin volleyball. Boy, howdy, I haven't had a chance to say a whole lot yet. I told you about the matches that are coming up this week, but the matches that volleyball just had, a sweep at Arkansas Fort Smith, a 4-set win at 4th-ranked UCO, plenty of palpable momentum as the Griffs come back home for 3 matches right here in our town this week, starting tomorrow night. We discuss it next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on our Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, talking Griffin volleyball. Pretty red-hot Griffin volleyball team right now at 12-5 overall, 4-2 in the MIAA, riding what is now a 3-match win streak. 2 of those wins coming over the weekend. It started on Friday with the sweep at Arkansas Fort Smith, and then, of course, Saturday, how about it, a 4-set win over 4th-ranked Central Oklahoma in their place, the Hamilton Fieldhouse in Edmond. So that was a great feel on Saturday when we saw that score. And, Coach, that's now 4 wins over ranked teams, all of whom ranked inside the top 11 at the time. And, yeah, the Fort Smith, your first trip to the Stubblefield Center to take on the Lions. I imagine the vibes on the ride home Saturday. It's a long drive, but at least, the spirits are high. Just take me through just the weekend as a whole.
Yeah, first time making that trip, and it's a tough trip, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
You're on a bus for 5.5 hours to get to Fort Smith. And we went the night before, and then, all day Friday we're just hanging out, right, waiting for game time. So, a big point of emphasis was just not going in flat. When you sit at a hotel all day and, you go eat lunch, you just try to kill some time. It can be hard to muster up, good energy. So that was kind of like, let's, bring good energy, don't come out flat. And we definitely played well on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
We took care of business. Fort Smith's really young. They have a lot of freshmen, but they're super, super athletic. So we had to key in on a couple players of theirs and slow them down, and they did a really good job of executing our scout. And then we did a great job of just handling our side and taking care of business and getting out there early and, getting on the road, because then you have a 3-hour drive to Edmond that night, and then you get up and you play at 2 o'clock. So it's a pretty quick turnaround of a trip. But yeah, and then on Saturday, we started out and we looked like garbage. We did. We looked so bad in that first set. It was almost like they weren't even trying. Like, that's what it looked like. It's like, are we even trying to play volleyball today? Like, we got punched in the mouth really quick. So I didn't have a lot of great things to say to them after that first set. As you can tell, I probably was a little fierce with them. And just kind of put them on their plate. I said, if you want to win this game, this is on you, and you know what you have to do. So you can either get your butts kicked again, or you can turn it around. And they chose the latter, which I'm grateful for. So it was a fun match. But, if you look like statistically at our weekend, we were very, very evenly distributed. Like, our kills, we had all of our offensive options range from 18 to 24 kills. And so for us to be able to have that balanced attack is what it takes to beat teams like UCO. And then, defensively, Anna Weberg made some really great plays. She averaged like 7.5 digs a set against UCO, which is crazy good. And then even our setter, Caitlin, she was averaging like 4.5 digs per set, which is insane. And even Holly was over 4. So defensively, we did a really nice job on UCO and even against Fort Smith. But we did switch to that 5-1 against UCO. And after the first set, and it made a big difference just being able to run some different plays that you can't run in 6-2.
Yeah, got beat the first set against UCO 25-14, and then, we win the fourth 25-15. So, yeah, that thing flipped on its head in a hurry. On Friday, defense playing well. You hold the Lions to a 0.91 hit percentage. You get Emma and Taylor hitting north of 400. And, yeah, you talked about Caitlin. Even on Friday, a double-double, 19 assists and 10 digs. Yeah. And, you stole a question from me. You play Caitlin at setter pretty much the entire match. Yeah. 43 assists, 22 digs against UCO, which were both season highs, career highs for the freshmen. And, yeah, Holly and so many people, 4 players with double-digit kills on Saturday. But just starting with Caitlin, for her to go out and 2 double-doubles on the weekend and take command there against number 4 in the country and help lead your team to victory. I mean, that's how huge is that?
Yeah. For a freshman, I mean, she's done some great things for us this season, but has never really been in the situation where she's just running the whole show, running the offense, making the calls. I think she's getting to a point where she's comfortable and can understand a little bit more what I need from her and what, when to, when not to. And, there's a lot of decision making into her position. And sometimes as a freshman, you want to make the high school level decisions when you need to make the college level decisions. So she's kind of grown into, those decisions, which is nice to see. And then defensively, she's come a really long way for her to have 4.5 digs a set against a great team, and teams target our setters on defense too. So they were trying to get her, and she didn't let that happen. But no, really proud of her, and for us to just be able to, we've never practiced that really. We threw it in one time at practice last week to run a 5-1. And so for us to never really practice it and then just be able to execute it was huge too.
No doubt. And Holly Helt, who I made brief mention of, season best 15 kills Saturday. She had 17 digs. How about 97 digs in 4 sets to go with 10 blocks in that win over UCO on Saturday? So things were just clicking, certainly from set 2 onward. Did a little research this morning. So MasseyRatings.com, it's a metric people love to use during March Madness and things, but they do pretty much every sport, D1 and D2, and Massey Ratings has our strength of schedule listed as number 2 hardest in the country. And I feel like we've done this every year, right? I'm up here looking at the tournaments we're playing in and the trips we make, but 4-1 now in ranked matchups, and again, all of those ranked matchups against teams ranked inside the top 11 at the time. So from that standpoint, so nice to see that work paying off and now it resulting in wins. Not just playing these guys and hanging with them, but going into their place and beating them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was talking to another coach in the league, and we were talking about strength of schedule, and I said, our strength of schedule is not going to do anything unless we start winning some of them,
enough.
And that was before UCO, so it definitely it makes me feel better that, we're taking some wins off of those tough games that we're playing. But, we played a really tough preseason, and I think it kind of is building into our conference play now. We've taken a couple on the chin, in some of these earlier matches, but hopefully that Kearney loss kind of, set a little bit of a fire into a realization of like, wow, we can actually beat everyone in this league. And so I think that we turned a corner this weekend and hope that we can just put our foot on the gas and not look back.
Well, to borrow a phrase from our friend Candy Whitaker, I remember there was the basketball season 23-24. They dropped one at NSU, and she said we had a, quote, come to Jesus moment, and then they went on this crazy run. So perhaps that Nebraska-Kearney match was that moment for you guys, as you've won 3 straight, including 2 sweeps since October the 3rd. So we're back home now for 3 matches at home, and it starts tomorrow against Northwest at 6 o'clock. That is Faculty and Staff Appreciation Night tomorrow night. And then we rematch Pittsburgh State. If you'll recall, we played them the opening weekend in the Jungle Classic at their place. Took us to 5 sets. We did beat the Gorillas there, so we rematched them on Friday night at 6. And then Newman, the Jets, still seeking their first conference win. We get them Saturday at 1 o'clock. And kind of hard to believe that Northwest 0 for 6 in conference play in volleyball up to this point. So, I'm sure they'll be coming in here hungry as always, a rivalry and all that. Pittsburgh State, a conference team that's 8-9, and again, it took us till 5 to get them about a month or so ago. So it's nice to have this 3-match homestand. I feel like we've been, wishing you guys safe travels all year, so you get to stay right here at home. Lots going on. What's the overall game plan this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think the record Northwest has is not indicative of what they are whatsoever. They've played the same conference schedule we have, and we've had all the top teams so far. So it's tough that it's not like they're getting their butts kicked. Really, they're definitely challenging them. So they graduated a lot last year. They had a lot of 5-year kids that they graduated. So just a new team. I think still trying to find their footing. So we need to take care of business. We need to go in and just play our game and control our side and just try to contain them like we're capable of. And then going into Pitt, they're a really, really physical team. They blocked us 26 times in the 5th set or 5 sets that we played them the last time. So we kind of know what to expect at the net. We're going to have to do a little bit better of a job. But there's been a lot of volleyball played since that game, and we're a much better team than we were that first weekend. So hopefully we'll be okay walking into that game Friday. But we're definitely going to have to play well and not get blocked 26 times again.
Yeah, well said. That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
And, you think about the urgency of this time of year that, a team like Pitt, they're kind of hovering on will they, won't they make the conference tournament. Yeah. Newman looking for a spark to ignite their back half of the year, a program that has maybe somewhat underperformed compared to their peers. So Newman trying to get things turned around. And, Northwest, same thing. A slow start, but they got a lot of wood to chop till we get to November in our conference tournament in St. Joe. So it's exciting, 3 straight matches, and we got a team that's won 3 straight matches. So we get to see them at home tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Friday night, 6 o'clock, Saturday at 1, and I'll be there for all of them, and we'll have them here on the Griffin Sports Network and available to watch on the MIAA Network. So, Coach, I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for the time. Congrats
good.
On a great weekend.
Thank you.
There you go. Jess Fye joining us on this portion of the GSI Podcast. All right, let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back. We'll round out the show with football. As we know, through all of this week, it is our Rogers Pharmacy Hall of Fame weekend, and that'll kind of culminate this Saturday night at halftime of our football game when the entire 2025 Mo West Athletics Hall of Fame class will be honored. And it's a big week for Griffin football. They got a big test against Pittsburgh State. It's them and Northwest at the top of our league right now. So we'll talk this game with the Griffins versus Gorillas. We talk about it with Tyler Fenwick and linebacker Brecken Manis. That's next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing on our GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, as we round out the show today, talking football now with our head coach Tyler Fenwick, and so glad to have a 6'1" senior linebacker out of Ankeny, Iowa. This man was a man possessed in the first half at Nebraska-Kearney Saturday with 3 solo sacks, 4 TFLs in all. 2 of those sacks on the opening drive of the game. It's Brecken Manis, a 4th-year Griffin, up here with us. Gentlemen, thanks for taking the time. And, Coach, I know after, another tough game, still seeking some answers a little bit, but for 3+ quarters, man, we're in a physical battle on a windy day in Kearney, Nebraska, packed stadium at that. And we're right in it, 4th quarter, 6-point game, some late mistakes. But what's frustrating, I know, in this one, it's like you felt like at times, like, all three phases were playing well enough to keep ourselves in it. Spencer Springer did a heck of a job punting on a windy day. Defense played their butts off throughout the game. Offensively, we showed the ability to move it. So with all that being said and how that game ended, what's kind of just your closing thoughts, closing statement as we set off on a new week here?
There was coming off the Emporia game. I didn't think we played very physical, and so challenged our players to play more physical. And I thought we did that. I thought, from the get-go, I thought our defense was playing across the line of scrimmage a lot more. I thought offensively we were fitting some things up in the run game really well and moving some people and giving our backs some lanes to run. But really, the bottom line is, we're not consistent enough in our execution, and that's what's holding us back. And we drove the ball down a couple times and came away with nothing. And so that kind of continues to be the trend, and we've got to become more consistent. We've got to become more. I think we've had a lot of guys kind of in and out of the lineup that we need to become more consistent with the guys that that are in there so that they get into a rhythm. And that a lot of that has to do with a lot of new bodies, and we've had some injuries, and guy goes, Bryce Marcus goes down. You got to find a new guy to take that spot, and without the fact that we've like the receiver spot, for example, it's a whole new room.
Yeah.
And so when you get somebody else in there, it's almost starting over with that guy, and so Crew Meyer had a big game, had a lot of catches, but still some young mistakes. You know what I mean? And so that's going to happen, and that's kind of where we're at. And so that's what's frustrating, is that we need to see us, just become more consistent and the expectations of knowing what we're doing on every single play.
Yeah. Well, you talk of guys going down and people stepping up. Brecken, you've been playing throughout your career, but with Keenan Gaskin going down, that leaves a big hole in the linebacking core, and you break through consecutive sacks on second and third down in Kearney's first drive of the game, and they punt into a win, and we get great starting field position. That sideline is buzzing there early on, and talking with Coach afterward, I asked about you, of course, and he said he's seen a different side of you, maybe more fiery, more feisty. Just what was your mindset as you took the field, and how good did it feel just to give your guys some energy early on?
Yeah, going into the Kearney game after Emporia, I think Coach Sanders, Coach Johnson, Coach Femick really challenged us to be more physical coming into the game. And, with Keenan out, he is a big, he is a big presence out there, and it's a big challenge for us. I think we stepped up, and, I think just being more physical is definitely kind of where we're at on the defensive side of the ball. Making plays, and as well as being more consistent. Maybe getting some of those short fields, just kind of get one. We just need to stop, and
Well, it was the times when Kearney had the long fields that this defense really stepped up. There were 8 times that Kearney started a drive on their side of the field, and we stopped them on 7 of those. We forced them to punt 7 times, 9 third down stops, a turnover on downs. Coach Fenwick, very complimentary of Coach Johnson's game plan going in. We knew they were physical. We knew they were going to run the ball. We knew they have an inconsistent passing game, and we got some pressure there, of course, early. What kind of was that plan going in, and how do you feel like it was executed throughout the game?
Yeah, definitely the focus was to stop the run. We knew they were number one rushing offense in the conference. We knew if we could get them into that passing game, we could make them one-dimensional. We knew we could be successful, and I thought we did a very good job of that. Just little mistakes here and there in the passing game. I thought we were consistent in the run game, stopping them on first and second down. They were even running it on second and long, and I thought we were able to get them behind the chains well, and then we were able to put some blitzes out there that we knew they were going to be successful. We knew what their line was going to do when we put our 6 guys up there, so I thought we did a very good job executing that.
Yeah. Tyler, back on the offense, I think of the first couple of series when, Brecken gets his third down sack, they punt into a win, we take over at midfield, and we're marching there, they hold us, windy day, we miss a field goal, but then the next drive, Brandon Hall's kind of gashing them. B. Hall averaged about 6 yards a carry end of the day. We're into the red zone. We end the first quarter down by 6, first and goal at the 5. I think it was the first play of the second quarter. They bring a blitz. We drop back, intentional grounding. We have to settle for another field goal. So I know we circled that one, but then I think back to a minute 53 left first half. We take over a timeout or 2. Going into a win, we started our own 20. and a penalty kind of holds us back in that drive as well. Going into a 30-mile-an-hour wind in the second and fourth quarter, so no doubt played a role in this one, but some of the rest of it, you touched on it already, right? It's like we had it there, but then maybe a missed block, a missed assignment, a route not run correctly. Is that kind of your summation of those times on offense where it's like, man, we had it there and then just let it slip?
That's been the story of the whole season, honestly. I mean, it's, we're moving the ball. We're getting completions. Kane had 20 completions on the day.
Yeah, 20 and 27.
But we're not getting any explosive plays. We're not getting anything after the catch. We're not making, or we're checking things down when we need to be pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. And, and so you have to create explosive plays, and you have to, they're not just going to give them to you. And so that's what's been holding us back. And then we get down in the red zone, and things tighten up, and then we kind of stall out, and we get a penalty that maybe gets us out of that scenario, and then you're just always kind of fighting to get back in it, and kind of get you, behind the chains, and makes you a little bit more predictable.
Certainly. Brecken, after the game, another senior leader on this team, Trey Holmes, he's been a factor pretty much his entire time here. Had a pretty impassioned speech. You and he are kind of bound together by a lot. Same class, recruited by the previous staff. You guys were on a team 3 years ago that was 2-4 at this point in the year, and then you went through the growth, the turnaround in 2023, and of course the highs and lows of last year too. But through all that, what did it mean for you to see a senior teammate kind of just get up there and speak candidly? Coach told me in the postgame that Trey said it all after the game. Just take me in that locker room afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great. His leadership has, really seen a lot from him the past few weeks. It's been tough, and you got to see who the real leaders are right now. Trey Holmes has definitely been that. Being together for the last 4 years, I think, we've been through it all. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, so see him kind of step up in that moment, really say what was on his chest, and hopefully that kind of lights a fire in between some of these guys, and hopefully we're able to kind of bring that into this week. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, even though the record's not where we want to be, I mean, there's so much to play for this week. It is our Hall of Fame weekend, and of course, we can't slack with 15th-ranked Pittsburgh State coming in. The Gorillas 5-2. They've won 5 straight. We know how good they are, 4-1 in the league. We'll talk about Pitt in a second, but some of the other things going on. It was 5 days ago that Coach Fenwick, receivers coach Aaron Bell, President Elizabeth Kennedy make the trip down to Kansas City to Ability KC. That's a rehab facility to visit 14-year-old Julius Byers there, a young man from Liberty, seriously injured September the 3rd in his first ever high school football game, was hospitalized for a couple of weeks with a severe spinal injury, was concussed there as well, and he is in rehab, moving about, making amazing progress, working 30 hours a week at this place to try and get himself back to as good of a life and normal life as possible. And this young man had the dream after a visit here in middle school, said he wanted to play football right here at Mo West. So, unfortunately with an injury like that, it cuts down a career, but he will be this Saturday. Julius Byers, an honorary captain. He'll flip the coin, and as I understand it, he'll have his own image on the big board and all this stuff. So many cool things planned. But Tyler, that was such a nice moment to see that. Our GSI crew and a lot of people were there to capture that moment. Just take me through that experience of getting to meet Julius and surprising him with the jersey and everything going on with him.
Yeah, it was a good experience. I wasn't sure what to expect. You hear the stuff on the news and you read the stories about the injury and the rehab, and so I really didn't know going into it whether he was going to walk or whether he was going to be a wheelchair, or I didn't know what the progress had been, and so we got there and I think Menley had him interviewing in another room, and so we didn't see him at that time, and we were kind of sitting there waiting around, and everybody's there and all these cameras and all that stuff, and he walked out, and I thought it was almost like a sigh of relief, to see the kid walk out with neck brace and all that, and come over and sit down and then just have a conversation with him, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty cool story that he was, here's a kid that came onto Mo West campus, and was impressed by it, and something resonated with him. to sit there and say that this is where I want to go to school, and this would be cool, and I want to play football here, and the stadium and all that stuff. And so I'm excited, for him to come up on Saturday and actually give him a real tour of our facility and get him around our guys and the locker room and all that stuff. So be a great experience for him, and hopefully he's got a passion for football, and hopefully he's able to stay involved in football in some form or fashion going through college.
Certainly, just a little something extra to play for here this week, and he'll flip the coin. And I understand it. He has some family that lives here or is from here, and so it's and this is a kind of a nice family moment for him to come and meet the Griffins on this week. Well, just quick on Pittsburgh State. This is a team that was a little hard to gauge early in the year. They opened with defending national champ Ferris State, lost that one. They lost to Central Oklahoma, but now they've reeled off 5 straight. Have the Gorillas in that time beating third-ranked Grand Valley State. Conference wins over Fort Hays, Emporia, Kearney, and Washburn. They like to run it. They've got a veteran running back, Cleo Chandler Jr. Feels like he's been there a long time, but their backfield averaging 200 rush yards per game. They have a first-year starting quarterback, a transfer from Southern Utah. He's playing pretty well right now. And defense, take your pick. Plenty of athletes on that side of the ball. It's a big puzzle. Breck, and I can include you here, but just starting with you, Coach. A lot of pieces. How do you go about sorting that here this week?
A lot of pieces to Pitt.
Yeah, just big. It's a big task. Yeah,
it's a big task. They're all big tasks.
I know. Yeah,
No, I mean, like I said before, I mean, we're in a 1-week season every week. I mean, it's regroup, new game plan. I don't know that we don't have the right guys in the locker room if we're looking at our record and saying there's no way that we can win. We don't, you know what I mean? So we don't. I don't talk about record. We don't talk about game 10 or 11. I think we talk about what's the next task that we have in front of us, and so obviously, I mean, Pitt's a good team. They're physical. They're they got a history of winning. They've got some momentum. They're confident, but now they got to come play us. So that's the way we have to look at it. And if we can fix, and continue to fix things and put things in place and try to put our own puzzle together, then we're going to give them a run.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like that's what we've been doing week in and week out, is saying, okay, here's what we didn't do well, and this is what we need to do better. And I think we've grown at those things, but we got to just keep putting the pieces of the puzzle and finding the right matches that kind of go in and complete it.
Yeah, I don't know how many folks outside of our walls gave us a shot when we went in there last year, and then Cody Kirk comes in, rifles a pass to Jonas Bennett, and we're leading at their place in the third quarter, and they were top 10 in the country. And Brecken 2 years ago on Senior Day, even when the record was better, I don't know how many folks were giving us a chance against number 2 in the country, and we shocked the world on a pretty amazing November afternoon. So obviously it's been done. I say any given Saturday in this MIAA, so that in mind. Coach said a lot last year about faceless, nameless opponents. So yeah, I mean, just what's the player's mindset going into a matchup like this?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're a very good rushing team. So I mean, we're up for that challenge for sure. And then going back to 2 years ago, I think, I mean, that was huge for this program. Just being able to kind of beat a team like that on Senior Day for that class was awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Again, a faceless opponent. No one's giving us a shot. So I think just to come to this game, there's no pressure on us. So I think to go in and maybe spoil a season would be fun.
Yeah. I mean, Pitt's already taken 2 losses, so what a third would. Fort Hays State just took their third loss over the weekend, and I was listening to that broadcast, and like, this level could mean 3 strikes, you're out. So in terms of Pitt, yeah, they've had the momentum, but UCO gave them a conference loss already earlier this year. Hall of Fame weekend, of course, 6 individuals, 2 teams, including a couple of football alums, and J.R. Graham and Nathan Martin, 2 players, Coach, that were here for at least a couple of years of your time here. You started 2007 as O coordinator, and J.R. Graham, Nathan Martin departing in about that 2009 era, part of the first ever playoff run for this program back in 2006. What are your memories of J.R. and Nathan?
Yeah, I think J.R. was a senior when I came in 2007, and he was just, he was a good safety. He was an eraser. He was one of those guys that just, he's smart, great tackler, team captain type guy, good leader. I ran into him actually, I think, at an airport last year. and just kind of caught up with him a little bit, and just good guy. I mean, he's you see these guys 10 years down the road, and just good family people. Sure. And all that stuff. And so, but yeah, he's good, really good player. Yeah. And Nathan, gosh, he was such a good offensive lineman. I mean, that was a really good offensive line that when I got here, it was a bunch of guys that had been around, and he was athletic, he was physical. So yeah, they're well deserving. Both of them are well deserving to get in the Hall of Fame here.
No doubt, and they will be honored. The ceremony and dinner Friday night, 6:00 at the Fulkerson Center, and they, along with people like Buzz Verduzco, women's basketball players from '96, '97, '01, '02, Ryan Zen of baseball, Shi King Ong of women's golf. Without looking at the class in front of me, just going off mental memory, just some of the folks that will be back on our campus and be honored. Mary Nichols, who was so instrumental in our 50 years of women's athletics celebration. She's going in officially to our Mo West Athletics Hall of Fame as an athlete and as a coach, so a pretty exciting deal there. So plenty to cheer about, plenty to root for. Julius Byer is going to be with us, so I know these Griffs are going to give it their all against one of the best teams that our league has to offer. The pregame at 5:30 and the kickoff at 6 o'clock. Griffins and Gorillas, one last primetime game here in 2025. With Brecken Manis, that's Tyler Fenwick. Gentlemen, thanks so much. Good luck.
Thanks, Tommy.
There you go. Brecken Manis, Tyler Fenwick to round out our show here today. I want to thank them. I want to thank as well Ty Henry, Brooks McCowan, Jake Plucker, Jess Fye from 4 different sports joining us here today. Next week we'll be back. Cross country will be back to preview the MIAA championships. We'll preview women's basketball next week as well and talk about football. Football's next test after this week. We'll go to Joplin to play Missouri Southern, so that's just a brief look ahead there. GoGriffins.com. Stay tuned all week. It's a busy week with Hall of Fame and everything going on, so all the coverage you could want at GoGriffins.com, and be sure to follow, subscribe to Mo West Athletics on our social media at Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next Monday. Until then, enjoy your week. So long.